Welcome back to the BHS Spotlight. I'm pleased to have Bridgitte Price, who's a counselor at Batesville Middle School. We're representing a different group of students today, the class of 2027, who were able to experience the reality check yesterday, Wednesday, March the 8th, from our filming today. It's one of their favorite events, the reality check. It was held at Jacksonville High School. Yeah. So Bridgitte, welcome, first of all, and thank you for representing the class of 2027. Tell us a little bit about reality check.
Yeah, thanks for having me here. So Reality Check is an event that WRBI puts on every year. This is our first time having it since COVID. So all of our 8th graders, our students, and our teachers were excited to get back to that. So WRBI puts on the event at Jacksonville, and they invite community partners to come in and be a part of that as well. So when the students arrive to Jacksonville, they're told that they are a 28-year-old. So they step into being an adult. They're told if they have kids or not, what their career is. They have to learn how to budget, manage their money. Some of them ended up needing loans to take out more money because they went into debt. So it was just a really cool opportunity for them to understand what adult life will be for them sooner than later. So WRBI does a really good job of organizing that and inviting all the schools to it.
And that was in the morning at Jacksonville that WRBI hosted. And so some of the new features of the experience of reality check this year was our 8th graders were able to come to the high school to the auditorium for a community professional forum. Tell us a little bit about that. Yeah,
so I found out on Monday that we had like an hour time gap to fill. So this was yesterday on Wednesday. So on Monday, I was working with some of the teachers to try and brainstorm what can we do with our students for an hour. And we thought about reaching out to business partners here in Batesville to ask them to come in to speak. And I think that it's important to note, too, that how lucky we are in Batesville to be able to just call someone last minute and ask them if they can come and give an hour of their time 2 days later. So we did have 6 speakers, Amanda Garcia, Tony Gutzweiler, Andy Cassidy. I need to make sure I'm not forgetting anyone. Colt Ryan, Alex Meir, and Abby Ziegler all gave up an hour of their time to come and talk to our students about how they got into the career that they were in and just advice that they would give their middle school self. So I think that was really neat for all of our students to hear from different perspectives, and all of them were such a diverse career. They're also all small business owners, so they were able to speak into characteristics that they are looking for when our students graduate, when they're hiring our students. So.
It's always a great opportunity to have our community members provide a different voice to our students. We see them on a daily basis, obviously, and to welcome those community partners in. So when we asked the 8th graders this morning, or you asked the 8th graders this morning, what were some key takeaways expressed by the students that they had from the community forum?
Yeah, so I think something that was surprising to our students and like even myself to hear from all of our 6 speakers as well was all of them went to college for something different than what they're doing right now. They talked about how they don't regret anything that they've done because they all learned skills that they're still using today, and they still are using friendships that they made 25 years ago for their work today. Our students were surprised to hear that they didn't have to know 100% what they want to be when they graduate high school. And they were encouraged to hear that it's okay if you change your mind. So a lot of them talked about how they started off going down one track. Colt Ryan gave really good advice about how he said that he always just thought about being a professional basketball player, how he was able to obtain that goal, but then he had to realize, like, what do I want to do now? And so I think a lot of our male students caught on to him being a basketball player, and they had questions about that, but he really opened their eyes to see, like, it's not just all that. Like, at some point we have to think about other interests that we have too. So all of our students, that really was the first time in their middle school career to have an opportunity like that, to hear about careers from our business partners. So it was really neat and a good learning experience for them.
Good. And so from the auditorium, we transitioned to the cafeteria for lunch. That was another new feature here, is the 8th graders got to experience lunch in the cafeteria that they'll be in next year. As they get exposure to their new surroundings that they're going to, talk a little bit about that transition process. That is a focus between Batesville Middle School and Batesville High School of lessening maybe some of the anxiety, or lessening some of the, letting people become more familiar with the transition process from the middle school to the high school.
Yeah, I think in general, whenever we tell our 8th graders, like, it's time to start thinking of your schedule, they feel so anxious about coming to the high school. And I think we all can agree that when we're, like, in that state of anxiety, like, we're going to have a hard time focusing in school and just being present. And so I think we've been doing a lot of things to help kind of minimize that, hopefully minimize that feeling when they start. I have to say, all this feedback was they love the seating at the high school. They love the cafeteria. But they like to be able to just know how the cafeteria works. We came here and went on a tour to see everywhere, all the classes at different time. And then yesterday they were able to eat lunch here. So that's one less thing they have to worry about of understanding how the lunch line works. I think in general we see it in middle school and at the high school. All the students are like, who do I sit with? Where do I go? And so that was one less thing that now they know, like, what to do. And they loved, like, I think more of that freedom of where they get to sit. The seating is different, so they like that too. They said that's one of their bigger worries about being a 9th grader, so that's one less thing they're worried about right now.
Good. So then they were broken into 4 groups and had some familiar faces. Current freshmen, the members of the class of 2026, served as student panels as we broke the 8th graders up into 4 different groups to talk about what it was like to be a freshman at Batesville High School. That experience overall seemed to go well. Talk about some of the takeaways that your 8th grade students were able to learn from kids that were just them a year ago.
Yeah, I think what was so special about having the 9th graders do that was they were just totally transparent and honest. They were very upfront with them and saying that they were very scared starting at the high school, and talked about that experience with our students. And so I think our students felt at ease more because they're like, okay, they're telling me that they felt really nervous and they didn't need to. They overreacted on that. And so even when I was talking to our students this morning, they all felt like they're like, okay, I don't think I have to be as nervous as what I am. The students talked about how it's okay if you're a little late to class at first. They talked about, like, the rolling start. So I think having the 9th graders, since they're a half a year into being a 9th grade student, so they were able to remember what it was like as an 8th grader and how our current 8th graders are feeling. And of course, I think it's always nicer to have students talk about their experiences rather than, like, us as adults going in and talking about the differences. And our students highlighted on that as well, like, that it always feels easier and more comfortable hearing from a student. So that was all really good feedback, I think. It just helped them feel like maybe some of the things that they're worried about isn't as big. Which I think we experienced that in any transition. Like, when our 8th graders started as 6th grade students, they would have the same worries. So I think we're really doing a good job with helping them be exposed to the high school a lot sooner this year.
Good. So these types of days take a lot of planning. You serve as the project lead for our reality check, but also a lot of support from the middle school administration, Mr. Strauss and Mr. Tucker, but also the 8th grade teachers. Talk about the development of the day that involves the middle school staff and how you plan, and then the execution that took place for a very successful reality check.
Yeah, I truly would not be able to pull this day off without all of their help. Especially the teachers were so helpful too. As I mentioned, we haven't had reality check since before COVID. So I started as the counselor right in the midst of COVID, and so I didn't really know all the details that went into it. But all of those teachers that have been here were able to pull, like, past emails, past planning, and they really helped, like, even as far as, like, oh, we need name tags and pencils and calculators, all the little small details to help make that happen. Even whenever we were recognized we had an hour to fill and we were going to bring business partners in, they were able to help identify, like, oh, these are past students here at Batesville who I know would love to do something like that. So I know that I said this before, but I'm really grateful for the community that our school is in. I think that they really value our school, but also our students, to say that they're going to give up that much time. So I'm thankful for the teachers to even still have those relationships that we're able to pull on.
Wonderful. Yeah. So the 8th grade year is a very memorable experience as far as the overall K-12 time in Batesville schools. And so before the class of 2027 gets here, they've got just over 9 weeks left at Batesville Middle School. What can they look forward to during that last time frame at the middle school and leave the middle school with very enjoyable memories?
Yeah, I think it's bittersweet to have the 8th graders leave our building and come over to the high school. But it's such an exciting time for them. So right now what we have looking forward to the rest of the school year is we're going to have the 8th grade dance coming up, and that's always really special. They get to go get new outfits if they want for that. And then we have the 8th grade DC field trip. So that's always like the biggest middle school experience that they all look forward to. So that's coming up. Right now we're working on like rooming and all of those details. And then we always do like the award ceremony at the end of the year. And that's such a special experience for our teachers to get to speak into our students, and the students to just know that we value them and we've enjoyed their time with us. So I think there's still a lot more things to look forward to before the end of the year.
Yeah. Well, Bridgitte, thank you for coordinating Reality Check. Thank you for helping to lead along with Mr. Strauss and Mr. Tucker and all the middle school staff. We're able to welcome in the class of 2027 when it's time, but we want them to be able to enjoy the last part of their 8th grade experience. And it just shows, again, the continuum and the philosophy of trying to make sure that all of our students here in the Batesville Community School Corporation get meaningful experiences at each level, and the middle school does a fantastic job, exhibited yesterday by the Reality Check.
Thank you. Yeah, thanks for having us.
We're pleased to have Bridgitte Price here as part of the Reality Check and representing the Batesville Middle School in the class of 2027.